I'll be reading from Buffalo Rising on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And this first article is by Queen's Eyes, and it's under the topic of Metro. Take the Envision Erie survey. Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz is asking residents living in cities, towns, and villages of Erie County to participate in a new survey that will help to identify priorities, challenges, and opportunities. Responses to the Envision Erie survey will allow government officials to better understand the wants and needs of residents involving issues such as housing, public safety, economic development, public health, infrastructure, workforce development, and participation in local government. Envision Erie is a way for all residents to express what's important to them about Erie County, whether it's business, health, quality of life, education, infrastructure, or whatever might be on their mind. This is the way we can all have input, hopefully producing actionable ideas that can improve our county for future generations, said Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz. At the survey's conclusion, Erie County will first analyze survey responses and community input throughout the summer. Next, identify key trends and priorities expressed by residents. And third, develop and release a public-facing action plan in fall of 2026, outlining how Erie County will respond to identified community needs and priorities. The survey will be open for 90 days and is available at www.erie.gov/Envision Erie. Paper surveys will be made available at community centers, senior centers, and libraries across Erie County. Next article is under the subject of government. It's written by the staff at Buffalo Rising. New York State announces a $166 million investment in water quality improvement projects, including 1-acre green roof on the Central Library. Governor Hochul has unveiled a significant $1.66 million funding initiative allocated to 187 water quality projects across New York State, marking a step towards enhancing the state's water infrastructure, combating climate change impacts, and ensuring the protection of drinking water. This investment is particularly noteworthy for its emphasis on environmental justice communities, with over $101 million dedicated to projects within these areas. In Western New York, the Buffalo Sewer Authority is set to receive $10 million for a wastewater treatment infrastructure project. This initiative includes the construction of an underground storage tunnel along East Delavan Avenue, designed to provide a minimum of 1.5 million gallons of offline storage. This development aims to significantly reduce the discharge entering Skagway Creek from combined sewer overflows during heavy rainfall and snow melt, which would mark a critical step in addressing water pollution and enhancing the quality of local water bodies. Additionally, Erie County is awarded $3 million under the Green Innovation Grant Program to implement green infrastructure solutions, including the installation of more than an acre of green roof on the Central Library in Buffalo. This project, coupled with the installation of solar panels aiming to reduce combined sewer overflow and improve water quality in the Buffalo River and Lake Erie. The funding announcement follows the state's strategic move to remove the 300,000 population threshold for hardship financing eligibility, allowing larger municipalities to compete for funding on clean water projects. This adjustment, set to be included in the 2025 intended use plan, represents a significant policy shift in the hopes that this change enables broader access to financial support for vital water quality initiatives. Other initiatives in Erie County include the Erie County Department of Parks, Recreation, and Forest, Went and Bennett Beach, Lake Erie Coastal Dune Erosion Control. The Erie County Department of Parks, Recreation, and Forest will create an engineering design report to manage coastal erosion at Went Beach County Park. The report will identify current erosion patterns due to intensified storms linked to climate change and prioritize natural-based solutions to mitigate dune erosion. Stabilizing the dunes and protecting the shoreline will reduce sediment runoff, improve water clarity, and enhance habitat conditions for diverse species in Lake Erie. Erie non-point source planning reports. They will be given $50,000. And the other Erie County project, Erie County, Western New York Stormwater Coalition, SMP mapping project. Erie County will collect field data and create GIS maps of stormwater management practices for 40 regulated MS4 owners in Erie and Niagara counties. The project will include stormwater management practice, mapping on the coalition's online stormwater mapper, and update conveyance system maps, which will help the municipalities meet the MS4 general permit requirements. Erie County MS4 mapping will be awarded $400,000. And under the subject of development, this is by Buffalo Rising staff, Construction Watch, Elmwood Bidwell. Work continues on Douglas Development's mixed-use project at Elmwood Avenue and Bidwell Parkway. The delayed project is on track to open later this year. Retail storefront windows are now being installed. 50 apartments are planned, primarily studio and one-bedroom units, along with 7,275 square foot of commercial space. The project design has evolved due to escalating cost. Modifications from original plan include smaller upper floor windows and less brick. Other modifications were the addition of a rooftop patio on the 5th floor along Potomac Avenue, roofline changes along Elmwood Avenue, and removal of the 2nd floor of the carriage house. Another construction watch is at 134 to 136 North Pearl Street. Back in 2019, the Preservation Board approved plans to renovate 2 multifamily residential buildings located at 134 to 136 North Pearl Street. 134 North Pearl LLC is finishing up the 2nd phase of that work with renovations to the 3-story rear building. The properties were purchased in 2019 for $425,000. The rear building, 134 North Pearl, was built in the late 1800s to house the Peter, Paul and Sons Stationery Printing Company. The building was originally a 2-story structure. The 3rd floor was added at some point in the mid-1900s when the building was converted to a multifamily residential dwelling. The original owner lived in the wood frame residence at 136 North Pearl. The scope of the work includes exterior renovations to both buildings, although the initial focus is 134 North Pearl. The existing brick masonry and stone foundations need some remedial repair work and a good cleaning. The existing windows are badly deteriorated. Some have been replaced with vinyl replacement windows. The intent is to replace all the windows with new aluminum-clad wood windows, replicating the original profiles to the extent feasible. The existing roof has had extensive issues which have led to extensive water damage to the interior. So the roof will be replaced in its entirety. And the final development, upstate infilling. Project planned for Swan Chicago site. A long vacant parcel at the southeast corner of Swan and Chicago streets is in line for residential and possible commercial development. Swan Chicago LLC purchased vacant parcels located at 425 Chicago and 275, 279, and 281 Swan Street for $120,000 on March 18th from Maria Cipro. The .39-acre site is just north of Chef's Restaurant. Swan Chicago LLC was formed by a group of local partners, including Alexander Burgos, to oversee the acquisition and future development of the parcels. The site would be remediated through the New York State Brownfield Cleanup Program, and a phased development approach is planned that would begin with for-sale residential townhomes with the potential for a mixed-use component with commercial space and residential units in a second phase. This is a great opportunity to take a long vacant site and put it back into productive use, said Alexander Burgos, principal of Swan Chicago LLC. I grew up less than a block from this location, so it's a project that carries personal significance for me. We're focused on creating quality housing and approaching the site with a long-term perspective. In 2024, Burgos moved his Doge Burgos construction business to nearby 249 Hickory Street. The company is a minority-owned, full-service contractor specializing in commercial renovations. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from Buffalo Rising on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And next, under the topic of business, this article by Queen's Eyes. 19 Ideas kicks off Startup Wednesday. Western New York's burgeoning startup community just got another big boost thanks to an ingenious new pitch competition with cash prize effort by strategic marketing agency 19 Ideas. The Startup Wednesday initiative, founded by entrepreneur and Buffalo startup ecosystem advocate and 19 Ideas partner and CTO, Dan Gigante, is designed as a 4-week experience that will result in the fostering of increased collaboration, stronger ideas, deeper mentorship, and more sustainable ventures. Adding to its regional scope, the initiative will be held in both Buffalo and Rochester. Startup Wednesday reimagines the hustle of traditional weekend hackathons into a format that better fits the realities of modern builders, said Startup Wednesday founder and 19 Ideas partner and CTO Dan Gigante. By stretching the experience across 4 weeks, we're making space for reflection, real relationship building, and meaningful mentorship at the moments it matters most. Our goal isn't to cram progress into 72 hours. It's to help participants actually create something they're proud of while enjoying the process along the way. The Startup Wednesday model is made possible thanks to a $50,000 Springboard New York grant through the 2025 Springboard Prize competition supported by the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation. Here's how it works. Startup Wednesday is open to the public with a $25 registration fee and will launch May 6th in Buffalo and June 3rd in Rochester, running every Wednesday throughout those cities' respective months, with $5,000 in total cash prizes available for both regions, including a $2,500 award for first place. The program is designed as a turnkey 4-week experience that guides participants from idea to launch through a series of interactive sessions. In Buffalo, the program will be held weekly on Wednesday evening from 6 to 9 p.m. at 701 Ellicott Street, UB-CBL's S, fostering a collaborative, hands-on environment for founders and builders. Week 1, Kickoff and Pitch Night, May 6th, Networking, Idea Pitching, Team Formation, and Setting Up Vibe Coding. Week 2, Demo and Mentor Night, May 13th. Keynote from a featured speaker, progress demos, and peer feedback. Week 3, Iteration and Insight, May 20th. Updating demos, collaborative feedback, final push prep, and dedicated mentorship. Week 4, Launch Night, May 27th. Final presentations, audience, Q&A, awards, and public launch. The Buffalo competition will be judged by a panel of respected industry leaders and entrepreneurs, including Julia DeHar, John Ebel, Jack Greco, and Lauren Washington. Participants will also benefit from hands-on mentorship from experienced founders and operators, including Kevin DeWalgitz, David Brenner, Stephanie Argentine, Mike Dorowitz, and Megan Kelly. Judges, mentors, and the location for the Rochester program will be announced at a later date. And the last article under the topic of business is by Queen's Eyes. Game On, Gather and Game supersizes to Amherst Street. What started as a quaint place to gather and game on Grant Street is now going to become a supersized version of its original self. 463 Amherst Street, most recently home to Interior Design Resources and D.B. Shunk Furniture back in the day, will enjoy its next life as home to Buffalo's very own Gather and Game. Gather and Game, recognized as a prized game store and community hub, has a retail component, a game library, gaming tables, a significant online presence, and a coffee shop element. The family-owned shop is known for their role-playing game events and their community-friendly vibe. While at 205 Grant Street, Gather and Games grew over the years to the point where it finally ran out of space to comfortably accommodate its in-store gaming clientele. The owners of the shop, Gene and Joe Preddy, originally opened at West Side Stories on Grant Street. In 2014, they added the gaming component to the bookstore, and in 2019, they opened a second location across the street, which they called Gather and Games. Not long after that, they sold the bookstore component and settled back into their original location at 205 Grant Street, which is where they exist today. West Side Stories continues to operate on Grant Street under new ownership and at a different location, while Gather and Game concentrates solely upon its gaming acumen. Now the time has come for Gather and Games to spread its wings even further as it prepares for its 463 Amherst Street expansion in what is considered one of the most beautiful buildings in the neighborhood, which is owned by 463 Amherst Street, LLC. "We're taking over the whole space," said Joe Petrie. "It's 9,000 square feet. The mezzanine will be dedicated to game tables and play space. The main floor will be retail. It was difficult for us to find a mid-sized location in the city, so we're fortunate to have found this building. Especially in close proximity to our Grand Street spot. It checked all the boxes. It's perfect for all of our needs because we don't have to do a build-out. It's mostly tables and display racks. We're going to fill the space pretty quickly, and it will become a significant game destination in the city. We have a lot of regulars that are invested, which is great because there are a lot of competition on the region. There are 12 direct competitors, and if you count card shops only, there are 30 altogether. We're the only one located in the city proper. While there will be no coffee shop element, Petrie did mention that they would have some specialties such as craft sodas. Also, artist Casey Milbrand will once again have a hand in making the place pop, in quotes, similar to what he did for the Grant Street location. All around, this is great news for Amherst Street, especially the family-friendly element. Petrie anticipates that the new Amherst Street location will be open within the next 3 months. And under the subject of community, this article by Buffalo Rising. A summer soccer league for adults is returning to Grand Island this summer. If you've been looking for a way to stay active this summer, meet new local friends, or just want something fun to do on Sunday afternoons, the Grand Island Recreation Department is bringing back its Sunday Co-ed Soccer Over 30 League for the 2026 season. The league is designed for adult players of all levels of experience and offers a structured but approachable way to get involved in recreational soccer locally. This league is open to adults 30 years and older and women 18 years and older. Teams are co-ed and must include at least 2 female players on the roster, with a minimum of 9 players per team. The 2026 season begins on May 10th and will run for approximately 10 to 12 weeks, followed by playoffs. Games are played at Veterans Park on Grand Island on Sunday afternoons, 4 p.m. or 5:15 p.m., with no games scheduled on holidays. Registration details and deadlines. Team coach registration is March 20th to April 20th. Deadline at 8 a.m. Player registration, which is free, is April 22nd to May 10th. Late player registration does have a $25 fee, and it's from May 11th through June 14th at noon on June 14th. Teams must be fully registered and paid by the deadline in order to be scheduled. Players must also be officially listed on the team roster before participating in games. And under the subject of local events, Providence Farm Collective to launch a You Pick flower stand. Providence Farm Collective has announced that it will launch a You Pick flower stand this year, starting the last week of June and running every day from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. This self-serve pay kiosk will be a real foraging treat for anyone that likes to select their own floral bouquet. Located at 5701 Burton Road in Orchard Park, across the street from the Red Barn and Carrot Sculpture, Providence Farm Collective has become an indispensable farmland and fresh food resource for individuals and communities throughout Western New York. Now the nonprofit is introducing an entirely new floral element to their mix of farm offerings. Options for how this works. Harvest flowers and pay $1 per stem at self-pay. Next, stop by the PFC Farm Store during open hours on Mondays and Thursdays to purchase a quart-sized jar and fill it with flowers for $20. Also, as a returning customer, you may refill your jar throughout the 2026 flower season for only $10 paid at the stand's self-pay kiosk. And finally, fill a PFC provided bucket with your harvest flowers for $75, ideal for parties and weddings. Questions about You Pick Flowers? Stop by the PFC Farm Store on Mondays between 3 and 7 p.m. and Thursdays between 1 and 4 p.m. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from Buffalo Rising. We read from Buffalo Rising on Fridays at 8:30 a.m. Your reader has been Margaret Mack. Thank you for listening.
You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service with broadcast studios at 1199 Harlem Road in Cheektowaga. Radio readings are broadcast 24 hours a day, every day, to area people who are blind or have a print disability. This year, our agency marks almost 40 years on the air with more than 300,000 hours of radio readings to those without sight. Our broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. The Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service website is nfradioreading.org. For more information, call 716-821-5555. Good morning. Welcome to another broadcast day in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, a private not-for-profit organization. As always, please feel free to contact us with your comments, suggestions, or with any questions you may have. And please stay with us. Arena Buffalo News is coming up in just a moment.
The following program is intended for readers who are